In the back streets of New York, 12-year-old Jamal walked along the cracked sidewalks, clutching his worn-out notebook tightly. Under the dim glow of the streetlights, his notebook held pages filled with intricate engineering sketches, numbers, formulas, and blueprints. But no one saw his genius. As he stood near the corner of a small grocery store, waiting for his mother, he gazed through the glass window at the world outside. The city was full of luxury cars and towering skyscrapers, but not here. "I'll never get out of this place," he thought. Just then, the wail of sirens echoed through the neighborhood. A sleek black limousine pulled up. The doors swung open, and out stepped Donald Trump. That day, a community outreach event was taking place in the neighborhood. Trump had come to support an initiative promoting entrepreneurship. Jamal watched from the crowd, unimpressed. To him, this was just another event for rich people to showcase their generosity. That is, until Trump locked eyes with him. Jamal wandered through the event space, overhearing the excited murmurs around him. The crowd had gathered to catch a glimpse of Donald Trump, the famous businessman. Expensive cars, security guards, men in tailored suits. For Jamal, these things belonged to a world far beyond his own. His world was one of worn-out notebooks, hand-me-down clothes, and a mother struggling to make ends meet. Yet, despite it all, he never let go of his dreams. Just then, someone brushed past him in a hurry, bumping into him. Jamal lost his balance, and his notebook slipped from his grasp, skidding across the pavement, landing right at Donald Trump's feet. For a moment, everything froze. The crowd fell silent, their eyes shifting between Trump and the notebook on the ground. Trump bent down and picked it up. As he flipped through the pages, his brows furrowed slightly. Inside were complex engineering calculations, diagrams, and advanced mathematical formulas. This was no ordinary notebook. Trump raised his head and looked at the boy standing before him, nervous but with a sharp intelligence in his eyes. "Did you do all these calculations yourself?" he asked. Jamal hesitated, his shoulders stiffening. He was used to people asking that question, usually followed by laughter or mockery. "Yeah, I just like playing with numbers," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. Trump examined the notebook again. These weren't just random scribbles. They were the product of an exceptional mind. But more than that, Trump saw something deeper, the quiet desperation of a kid with dreams too big for the life he was living. "What's your biggest dream?" Jamal hesitated. No one had ever asked him that before. No one had ever cared to. But here he was, standing in front of one of the most powerful businessmen in the world, being asked what he wanted from life. Jamal lifted his head. He hesitated for just a second before the words finally left his lips, his eyes burning with determination. "To be an engineer." Trump paused for a moment, considering the boy's answer. There was something special about this kid. Given the right education, the right opportunities, he could change the world. But in this neighborhood, with the life he was living, that possibility was almost non-existent. Trump turned to his team, his voice firm. "What can we do to get this kid an education?" The surrounding staff exchanged puzzled glances. No one had expected this, but Jamal's heart pounded in his chest. For the first time in his life, someone believed in him, and this would be the moment that changed his fate forever. The next morning, Jamal and his mother anxiously made their way to Trump's office. The towering glass skyscraper, its sleek and polished surface reflecting the city, felt like a completely different world from the one they knew. Jamal's hands were sweating. He had spent his whole life being overlooked, dismissed, and underestimated. What if today was no different? Sensing his nerves, his mother placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "No matter what happens, it's worth trying." As the grand office doors opened, they were met with an expansive room, a massive desk, and a breathtaking view of the city skyline. Trump greeted them with a smile and gestured for them to take a seat. "So, our young genius has arrived." He extended his hand toward Jamal. Hearing those words for the first time in his life, Jamal felt truly seen. He wasn't being judged for his circumstances. He was being recognized for his potential. With a simple nod from Trump, a team entered the room and Jamal was quickly put to the test. Mathematical equations, engineering problems, logic puzzles. For 2 hours, Trump and his advisors watched as the results poured in, each more impressive than the last. This child wasn't just gifted, he was extraordinary. As the final test concluded, Trump leaned back in his chair, folding his hands as he looked Jamal in the eye. "I have an offer for you." Jamal's eyes widened in disbelief. "Already? I'm going to invest in your education, but there's one condition." Trump paused for a brief moment before continuing. "You will never give up. There will be obstacles. People will doubt you, but if you quit, all of this will mean nothing." Jamal turned to his mother. Her eyes shimmered with tears. This was the moment that would change everything. Jamal took a deep breath, locked eyes with Trump, and answered with unwavering determination, "I will never give up." Trump smirked and slid a document across the desk. "Then welcome to Harvard." From that moment on, Jamal's journey to the top had officially begun. Harvard University. Jamal had made it to a place he could have never imagined years ago. Despite being one of the most brilliant students accepted on a full scholarship, from the very first day, he could feel the judgmental stares. He was the only one without an expensive suit, the only one who hadn't grown up in privilege. And soon the whispers started. "That's the scholarship kid. Isn't he from the projects? What's he doing here? This place is too big for him." Jamal clenched his fists. But then he remembered the promise he had made to Trump. Giving up is not an option. He didn't care what they thought. He would prove them wrong. He spent sleepless nights in the lab, developing new engineering solutions. His professors were in awe of his potential. But Jamal wanted more. One day, an international engineering competition was announced. Jamal's mind started racing immediately. The theme, the future of bionic prosthetics. After months of research and development, Jamal created a groundbreaking prosthetic that could seamlessly integrate with the nervous system, allowing users to move their limbs naturally and even feel again. This invention could change millions of lives. On the day of the competition, the auditorium was packed with engineers from around the world, each presenting their innovations. When Jamal stepped onto the stage, no one expected much from him. But as soon as he started speaking, the entire room fell silent. This system doesn't just help amputees walk again. It allows them to feel, to regain control over their movements just like before. He displayed real-time data from the prototype. The judges exchanged looks of disbelief. A professor leaned over and whispered, "This could revolutionize medicine and engineering." As Jamal stepped off the stage, the crowd erupted into applause, giving him a standing ovation. At that moment, his phone vibrated in his pocket. He glanced at the screen. One name appeared, Donald Trump. Jamal's heart pounded as he answered, "Young engineer, come to my office. We need to talk." He had no idea what was coming, but he could feel that his life was about to change once again. When Jamal walked into Trump's office, there was a contract waiting for him on the desk. "Sign this and start your own engineering company." Jamal's breath caught in his throat. "But I'm still so young," Trump smirked. "You don't need age to build the future. You need vision." Within a few years, Jamal launched his own engineering firm. He created his own scholarship program. He was no longer the one asking for a chance. Now he was the one giving them. One day, he stood on a stage, looking out at thousands of young entrepreneurs. "Someone gave me a chance when no one else would. Now I'm giving it to you." And the entire room rose to their feet, applauding. This wasn't just a story of one boy's success. This was the story of one decision that changed the future.